Cook won his Major League debut, but it took some fine defensive plays to help. Candy Maldonado not only played great defensively, but he also contributed at the plate. In the second inning, Candy unloaded on Andy Hawkins with his 10th home run of the year to give the Giants the lead, which they never lost. Tonight, Rick Russell, with his 5th attempt, goes for his 18th win of the year. Giants and the Padres coming up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play ball. Tonight, the Giants battle the San Diego Padres.
Struck well to left center field. Look out. There it is. See you later. 1-0 San Francisco.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Miller Brewing Company, sole sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Centers. By Toyota, makers of quality cars and trucks. Who could ask for anything more? And by Pacific Bell, your best call is to call on us.
There he goes. They have thrown him out.
Tonight's game is also brought to you by today's TWA. Find out how good we really are. By Hyatt Hotels and Resorts. On your next trip, feel the Hyatt touch. And by Chevron and high-octane Chevron Supreme. And now, join Steve Fiziak, Ron Fairley, and Dwayne Kuiper. Next, right here on Channel 2.
From Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, it is Game 2 of the series between the San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres. Hello, everybody. I'm Ron Fairley, along with Dwayne Kuiper. Steve Fiziak will not be with us this evening. He will rejoin us when the team goes down to Houston. In the meantime, my broadcast partner on KNBR, Wayne Hagan, will be filling in. Dwayne, in tonight's ball game, we have Big Daddy going for his 18th win of the year.
Big Daddy, you know, a couple of goals that the Giants would like to see a few of their players reach. Will Clark, of course, has 100 RBIs. He should get that. Big Daddy's going to have to go some to get his 20 wins. Number 18 would be nice tonight, but then, of course, he's got to get a couple of more after that. He's going to have to beat a team that's playing very well.
What about some offense? He has not had very much support.
Hasn't had a whole lot of offense. You know, we talk about the lack of home runs. Giants have had a lack of singles, not just home runs. And I think anytime you see a lack of base runners, it really keeps Roger Craig sitting on his hands in the dugout.
Well, it should be a good ball game. Right now, let's go down on the field and a conversation with Wayne Hagan.
Thank you, Ron. We have with us tonight Ernest Riles, who's going to get another start at third base. You were 3 for 3 last night. The transition for you from the American League to the National League has proved to be a very good one for you. You're a low fastball hitter.
Yes, it has so far. You know, I struggled, you know, a little bit last few weeks, but the last couple of games that I played, and I've been feel like I've been hitting the ball pretty well. And, you know, they've been throwing me lots of low fastballs, and, you know, and I've just been trying to go with the pitch and, you know, and just try to hit the ball with pitch to them.
Was the transition that tough an adjustment for you?
No, it wasn't. You know, I guess the pitchers around the league, they really didn't know me that much. So, you know, they really just trying to get ahead and, you know, and just feed them in fastballs. And, you know, that's pretty much what I was looking for, you know, looking for fastball and trying to adjust to the curveball. And, you know, and that philosophy so far have been paying off for me.
Good luck to you tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Ron Fairley, Dwayne Kuiper will have starting lineups for you right after this message.
Good morning, Miss Bullwinkle.
Good morning, Miss Bullwinkle.
Here's your change, Miss Bullwinkle.
Here's your change, Miss Bullwinkle.
At Chevron, when it comes to service, we do our homework. And while we're the first to admit that not every station is absolutely perfect...
Good morning. Miss, thank you. Here's your Bullwinkle, Miss Change.
We're working on it.
Your change, Miss Bullwinkle.
Chevron. We fuel your freedom.
You've got the magic touch. It makes me glow so much. It casts a spell. It rings a bell. The magic touch.
On your next business trip, feel the Hyatt touch.
The magic touch.
Welcome back to Jack Murphy Stadium, where it's Game 2 of this series between the Padres and the Giants. Last night, the Giants won by a score of 4-2. As you take a look at the guys down the dugout, let's run down the starting lineup for the San Francisco Giants. Leading off and playing in center field is Brett Butler. Robbie Thompson batting second, with Will Clark at first base batting third. Maldonado in the cleanup spot. Mike Aldrete in left field batting fifth. Batting 6th is Ernest Riles. Batting 7th is Kurt Manwaring doing the catching. Jose Uribe will be at shortstop, batting 8th. And on the mound, Big Daddy, Rick Russell, going for his 18th victory of the year. Defensively, for the San Diego Padres, here's the way they line themselves. Moreland at first base, Roberto Alomar at second, Gary Templeton at shortstop, Tim Flannery at third, Carmelo Martinez in left field, Marvell Wynn in center, John Kruk in right field, and the National League Rookie of the Year last year, Benito Santiago, doing the catching. And on the mound for San Diego is Ed Whitson. He is 12-9 against the league this year. ERA at 3.75. This is his 30th start of the year. He has a couple of complete games. His last start lost 2-1 to the Cincinnati Reds. He went 6 innings in that game. You can see a career mark of 91 and 96. He will be facing Brett Butler, Robbie Thompson, and then Will Clark. We said the Giants won last night by a score of 4-2. And our congratulations to a young man, Dennis Cook, who picked up his first Major League win in his Major League debut. So here we go. We're ready for Game 2 of this series. And to lead things off for us here in the booth, here's Dwayne Kuiper.
Well, thanks, Ron Fairley. As you mentioned, Butler will lead it off. For the Giants, they are trying to win their second game in a row. They have lost 8 of 11 and 14 of 19. And Butler takes a pitch high, 1 ball and no strikes. You talked about Dennis Cook. Not bad for an outfielder, Ron Fairley.
Out of the University of Texas, a converted outfielder out there in the mound.
2 balls and no strikes as Whitson comes in with another fastball.
You know, I was impressed last night. Even though there were a lot of fly ball outs, it doesn't make any difference. Outs are still outs. But Dennis Cook showed a great deal of poise.
And that's a call strike, 2-1. For Dennis Cook, he went 5 1/3. He only gave up 2 base hits. He walked 3 and he struck out 2. And the hum baby was very pleased with the left-hander. Butler fouls this one back. 2-2 now the count.
Well, not only is Roger pleased with the performance of Cook, but he has to be extremely pleased with Brett Butler. He has a chance to achieve some numbers this year.
You know, I mentioned in the open that there are some numbers that actually there are personal stats that players would like to reach. I mentioned Clark's 98 as Butler fouls this one back. Clark with 98 RBIs, of course, would like to reach 100, and we think that he will. Russell trying to win 20. And then looking at Butler, he has a chance, of course, to hit 300. He's at 295. As you see Big Daddy preparing himself as that's a fastball in.
Yeah, he's all excited.
Yeah.
I mean, he's uptight, can you tell?
The most emotion we've seen Rick Russell show this year was a dirty look he gave Randy Marsh, I believe, in his last start at Candlestick. 3-2 to Butler, and he fouls it back. Also, I suppose, with Will Clark, 26 home runs, he would have a shot at hitting 30.
You know, I take a look also. You know, there aren't very many guys that have a chance of hitting 300 in the National League this year. You have Perry, he's batting what, 309? Good golly, is it possible that no one in the National League will hit 300 this year?
Butler flies this one down the left field line. Martinez going over towards the line and back to the warning track. And that's out number 1 here in the first inning. A lot of the averages, as you mentioned, Ron, are down compared to not only last year, but a lot of the seasons in the past.
Yeah. Right now, there are only, what, 5 guys hitting 300? You have Perry, Palmeiro, Gwynn, Galarraga, and Dawson. And Perry leads the National League at 309.
Here's Robbie Thompson. That's a call strike.
Now, last year, they had all the home runs, and last year, the pitchers were really dumb. Does that make this year the hitters are dumb?
Well, I guess it goes in cycles. 0-1. Thompson fouls this one away, 0-2. And I don't know if it's because of the baseball being changed. My partner on Giants Vision, Joe Morgan, he's convinced that it all has to do with the baseball. Joe and I don't always agree, and I'm not so sure that that's the case. I think there are some young pitchers that have come into the league this year and have really established themselves.
Well, I think the strike zone, along with maybe the ball being a little different, if the ball is different.
Another foul back.
Because I think they redefined the strike zone, and we read about that as we went into spring training. We saw some evidence that the umpires were going to expand the strike zone a bit, and I think that maybe a lot of the hitters may have been swinging at bad pitches to kind of help things along.
1-2 to Thompson. That ball is high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And of course, they've taken the cork out of the bats this year.
I don't know whether that even does any good or not. Did you ever try to cork a bat?
Oh yeah, it didn't work. Thompson grounds this one by Whitson. Templeton will throw to Moreland just in time, and that's out number 2. I did not have a whole lot of success with cork bats, but I don't think it's a good one to use as an example.
You can see in the replay right here, Templeton coming in. He has a very strong throwing arm, and he does just get Robbie, and Robbie hustling down the line. I like to see that. Now, here's a case right here. We're getting toward the tail end of the season, but look at the effort that Robbie's still putting out. Of course, you should run hard all the time, but it's good to see it.
Will Clark with a fastball inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Off of Ed Whitson in 1988, Will Clark is 4 for 8 with 2 home runs, 8 for 17 career-wise.
And if everything continues, chances are they're not going to pitch to Clark, even though there's not a man in scoring position. They just don't pitch to him.
2 balls and no strikes to Will Clark. And he hits this one high in the air. Templeton going out. Martinez coming in. Martinez puts it away. Side retired. 3 up, 3 down for the Giants in their half of the first inning. After 1 half, Giants nothing. Padres coming to bat.
Better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Genuine draft anymore? About time.
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
What's the smart way to find 2 on the aisle?
The Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages.
So go find it.
What's the smart way to get away from it all?
The Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages.
So go find it.
What's the smart way to get your kicks?
The Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages.
So go find it.
My friends were right about Europe. It's definitely more fun than clients.
TWA means Rome.
I'm dealing with big issues, like where to have lunch.
TWA means Paris.
I'm learning new skills, like shopping and sitting around.
TWA means London. Significant restrictions may apply.
I tell you, this pressure's getting to me.
Today's TWA.
No score as we go to the bottom of the first inning. Let's run down the San Diego lineup for you very quickly. Marvell Wynn will lead off and play center field, followed by Alomar, then Martinez. Truck batting 4th, followed by Moreland, Santiago, and then Flannery, Temple, and Whitson. That's the way that Jack McKeon is going as Wynn leads things off.
And Wynn coming in at 258, 11 home runs, 38 RBIs. Hits this one into center field, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. Marvell Wynn rounds first base, and he stays there. So the Padres hitter.
Defensively, this is the way the Giants will align themselves. Clark at first base, Robbie Thompson at second, Leve at shortstop, Ernest Riles over at third. And then in the outfield of Aldrete, Butler, and Maldonado, with Kurt Manwaring doing the catching again this evening. And on the mound, of course, Rick Russell.
Big Daddy, as we mentioned, going for number 18. Marvell Wynn, the base runner at first base. Roberto Alomar, the hitter. Big Daddy will toss over to first. Marvell Wynn, not really a threat to steal, although he has pretty good speed. He's only stolen 2 bases. He's been caught 4 times. Alomar lays one down, and it bounces foul.
That's the case right there where Manwaring got such a good jump on it that if that ball would have been fair by just a few feet instead of going behind the plate, they might have had a play at second base. Get a chance to see it right here. Look how quick Manwaring gets out. And he's ready, but the ball went behind him. And it's obviously a foul ball.
Almost looked like that ball had reverse spin on it. Once it hit the dirt, it bounced behind Manwaring.
Kurt once again checking down to see if there's a pitch out. Checking with Roger Craig.
Alomar hits his ball in the left field. Aldretti on the run, and he puts it away right in the Giants bullpen. Wynn will tag up, and he will make it into second base. Marvell Wynn taking advantage of Mike Aldretti having to make a long throw.
And then it takes him a while to get rid of it. Now he comes set and then gets in position. Tough play. Because that's clear down the corner, and he's almost blocked out because even though he's in foul territory, by the time he gets his feet around there, that's good base running.
Yes, it is. Here's Carmelo Martinez. Martinez last night 2 for 2 with a home run. He has always hurt the Giants, and Russell starts him off with a call strike. Normally, Ron, you get a guy like Big Daddy. He gets used to pitching to certain catchers. As Martinez drives this in the right field. Candy coming in, and he can't come up with it. Wynn will not be able to score. He stays at third base. And they will charge Candy Maldonado with an error. And the Padres have base runners at first and third with only one out.
You know, last night, Candy made a great defensive play on a ball that you didn't think he had a chance to catch. And here's one he should catch. And then he just flat misses it.
See Candy trying to make the basket catch. And it goes off the fingers of his glove. Here's John Kruk. One down. Giants at double play depth. And Kruk takes this ball down and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Trying to make a point. I'm wondering how Big Daddy feels pitching to the youngster Kurt Manwaring. Do you think it makes a difference?
Well, I think if Rick were to have a choice, he'd probably like to work with one guy. But in his last 5 starts now, he has worked with Brentley behind the plate twice, Melvin twice, and now here is Manwaring.
Kruk for the line drive in the right field. Martinez will round second. He will go into third. And the Padres are on the board. They lead the Giants 1-0.
John Kruk's the kind of a batter that would probably give Rick Russell a rough time because he doesn't pull the ball. Big Daddy likes to throw those guys that do try to pull the ball. This time he singles into the outfield. And Wynn will score easily, of course. Still have runners at first and third. Right now, Big Daddy could use a double play ball.
Yes, he could. The Giants have turned 132 on the season. They are second in the National League. That's exactly what the Giants and Rick Russell are looking for. And that's a call strike. Moreland, not a speedster.
Well, they got the perfect guy up there, the guy that does not have good speed.
And there's Roberto Alomar's father, Sandy Alomar, Sr., coaching over at third base. That pitch misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. You could almost say that Big Daddy probably is going to call his own game anyway.
Yes, he is. Now, he's going to shake him off. And in some cases, Big Daddy doesn't shake you off. He just stares. And that means call for something else.
Line drive right at Riles. Riles did not have to move, and that's the second out.
See right here, this ball jams Moreland. And then I think with the possibility of the shirts in the background, Riles trying to go down on one knee so he can see the ball a little better.
Here's Benito Santiago, as Ron mentioned, last year's National League Rookie of the Year. He had a horrible start. But you can see his numbers a lot better. Coming in at 256, 8 home runs, 34 RBIs. And I'm sure the Padres have received a lot of phone calls from other major league clubs. That ball misses. 2-0 now the count.
What about the sophomore jinx? You think that may have anything to do with it?
I think that probably, in a way, those jinxes, which simply means that a player in his second year better learn to adjust. As Santiago, tough play for Riles. He backs up, and he tosses over to Will Clark. We will continue that point when we come back. The Padres come up with a run here in the first inning, and they lead the Giants 1-0.
Toyota Corolla. First time I saw the new one, I said, that's a Corolla?
And why'd you say that?
It doesn't look like a Corolla. It's beautiful. And from where the driver sits, it's even more beautiful.
How so?
Great handling. Multi-valve performance, sporty interiors. Beautiful. But I still keep thinking, this is a Corolla?
The new dimension, Corolla. Legendary value, Toyota quality.
Who could ask for anything more?
Well, my daughter was going off to college, and I was anxious. What if she needed something? In an emergency, and didn't have the money? I called the Citibank 800 number to see if there was a way that she could be allowed to charge on my Citibank Visa.
I told him I could do better than that. I could issue him a second card with her name on it, at no cost.
What a help. Citibank Visa brought his father a little peace of mind.
Not just Visa, Citibank Visa.
Maintaining an energy network is not without its problems. But at PG&E, we take pride in creative solutions.
You intend to raise these towers with no damage to my vineyard?
You bet.
And without shutting down the power. Really? We can do it.
Our tower lifter does the job of a crane, only faster and better and cheaper. To date, it's saved over $500,000 and a priceless crop of grapes.
Pretty nice work.
That's PG&E. Now more than ever, at your service.
Back at Jack Murphy Stadium, the Padres leading the Giants 1-0. Padres with a couple of base hits. The Giants and Candy Maldonado committing that error in the Padres half of the first inning. They are on the board. And it will be Candy Maldonado leading off for the Giants, followed by Mike Aldretti and then Ernest Riles. Candy 1 for 8 off of Ed Whitson in 1988. He, of course, hit his 10th home run last night. Hit it to straightaway center field. And we were talking about the sophomore jinx. In my opinion, it's just basically a player in his second year has to make some adjustments. And if they don't, then they're not going to have the same type of year they had their rookie season.
Well, I agree with you 100% on that, because when you come into the league, most of the pitchers don't pay that much attention to you.
2-1 now the count to Maldonado.
Until you start hitting 300 and doing the kind of things that Santiago did.
This is the home run that Candy hit last night. As you can see, he goes straight away center field. And Candy grounds this one past Bill Fahey. That evens up the count at 2-2. But you get guys that start worrying about that sophomore jinx. If they do not get off to a good start in April, they start thinking about it a little bit.
Well, they come into the league and they have a good year.
Candy off his fist. Flannery charging. His throw to Moreland is in plenty of time for out number 1.
But a lot of players come into the league, they have a good season, and then all of a sudden the next year that rolls around, as you see right here on the replay, Flannery coming up right over the top with an accurate throw. The second year, the players and the pitchers in the other ball club, they all make those changes and the adjustments to you. And if you're going to continue to do the same thing, you're going to have all kinds of trouble. And I think that's where that jinx comes in.
Here's Aldo. That pitch is high. 1 ball and no strikes. Mike coming in at 276. Last night, Aldretti 1 for 2. And that's a call strike. 1-1.
Aldretti this year hitting a great deal more away from Candlestick than at home.
That pitch misses. 2-1.
Batting .333 on the road.
Yeah, I'm sitting here shaking my head, and I'm sure if you asked Mike why, he wouldn't be able to tell you.
No.
Off of the fist, and this one will go to Alomar, and that's out number 2. I guess I say off of the fist a lot because I know the feeling. I felt like half the time I was running to first, I was also shaking my hands.
Well, that's a term we use in baseball. You hit off the hands, hit off the fist, get jammed, get in the kitchen.
Yep. Here's Ernest Riles. Riles 3 for 3 last night. There's a call strike. Riles playing third base in place of Matt Williams. And I'm sure that Riles' performance last night as he grounds this one right back to Whitson. He will toss over to Moreland. And for the second inning in a row, it's 3 up, 3 down for the Giants. After 1.5, they are down to the Padres 1-0.
People ask me why I support No Fault. They say, why should I support an initiative that's supported by the insurance companies? And I tell them because I was involved in an accident with an uninsured motorist. When I found out the man that hit me had no insurance, I was mad. My family pays for its insurance, and we shouldn't be victimized by someone who is not. I support No Fault because it rewards the people who pay for their insurance and doesn't reward the ones that don't.
Read any good beer bottles lately? This one tells you that Miller Genuine Draft is the one beer that's cold filtered, not heat pasteurized. So we haven't changed the rich, smooth taste of real draft beer. And you know what's the best thing about reading this bottle? It leads to a very happy ending.
Sunday, September 25th is Fan Appreciation Day. During the Dodgers game, we'll be giving out hundreds of gifts to our fans. Just as long as we don't give any gifts to the Dodgers. It should be fun.
Giants trailing to the Padres 1-0. We'd like to tell you about the last homestand of the season for the Giants. It'll be the Giants versus the Dodgers. Friday, September 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. And it'll be the Giants and the Reds on the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And those are all night games. Flannery lines this one in the left field, and Butler chases it down.
Well, you can just see the way they have it set up defensively. It's perfect.
This telecast is brought to you in part by Chevron.
When you read copy with Rick Russell, you got to be quick.
Yeah, you do. And when you walk in the batter's box, you better get ready because it's going to be on its way.
Here's Templeton. Templeton takes a call strike. You were talking about the Giants, the way they set up defensively. That is something that they take a great deal of pride in, of course, with Gordy McKenzie and Bill Fahey as Templeton rolls this one foul.
You know what they do, and really it's very interesting to look at the charts because each pitcher has a different color. And so they have a great big infield and an outfield, and wherever you hit the ball, not only do they mark down where you hit it, but they mark down the count and what pitch you hit.
Templeton pops this one up. Riles and Uribe, and it'll be Riles for out number 2.
So what happens is that after you have had several at-bats against a team, you start to see a pattern starting to develop. And you'll pick whatever color it is, and you'll say, gee, Rick Russell is pitching, and whatever his color is, you can get a general idea where those guys hit against this.
All right, who would have the charts, Gordy McKenzie or Bill Fahey?
Well, I think that Bobby Lillis is the one that writes a lot of those down.
Correction, I meant Bob Lillis.
Yeah. They will write them down, and they will study them. As you can see right there in the dugout, you got Lillis with the glasses on. And he's on the headset with Gordy up in the press box area. And they look at the charts, and they talk back and forth. Do you want Butler to move any further? Do you want Candy to move? Is Aldrete too shallow? You know, that kind of stuff.
2-1, the Padres pitcher, Ed Whitson.
And so really what you're doing is you're going to gang up on the hitter.
Swing and a miss, 2-2.
See, and I think that's a good idea because you have to give the hitter something, but gang up on him on the other places. For an example, if you got a guy up there that doesn't pull the ball very much, well then gang up on him in left center field. Force him to go out of what he's normally accustomed to doing. And if he hits the ball where you're not, that's baseball. Forget about it. But the other times, catch it.
2-2 the count to Ed Whitson. Chops this one to Riles. His throw across the diamond, and Will Clark with the nice stretch. So in the second inning, 3 up, 3 down for the Padres after 2 complete. It's the Padres 1 and the Giants nothing.
Being neutral, the Swiss enjoy the best of all worlds. Cars from Italy. Clothes from Paris. Shoes from England. And from America, Old Spice Liquid Stick, a new antiperspirant. With the smoothness of a roll-on and the speed of a stick, it also combines the best of all worlds for total protection. After all, nothing's more important to the Swiss than good relations. Old Spice Liquid Stick, the world's most advanced form of protection.
Jack in the Box interrupts this bite to announce a money-back guarantee.
Do it with chicken. Do it with chicken.
We are on our chicken fajita pita.
The chicken other chickens aspire to be.
White meat chicken, grilled onions, cheese.
They sure know their way around a chicken.
And we're so sure you'll love it, it comes with a money-back guarantee. The chicken fajita pita at Jack in the Box. Guaranteed.
It's too cool for this room.
Hi, everybody. I'm Truck and Van Auto Man, and let me show you what we got going on at your Northern California GMC truck dealer. Watch this. It's your GMC truck celebration. Cash in, make your best deal, and then get $750 cash back on S15 pickups and four-wheel drive S15 Jimmys, or get $500 cash back on GMC full-size Sierras. We've got the right GMC truck at the right price, so come on down, don't think twice. Make your best deal at your nearby GMC truck dealer.
Top of the third inning, Padres leading the Giants 1-0, and here sitting in for Steve Physiak is Wayne Hagan.
Well, thank you, Kipe. Good to see you again, fella. Boy, they got your hat on.
Got some headgear there, don't they?
Got that right. Here's Kurt Manwaring to lead it off. Fly ball to center field. Should be captured easily by Wynn, and he does. Out number 1.
Giants travel arranged through the NFL Citibank Visa card. Earn free NFL gear by using your Citibank Visa. Call 1-800-NFL-VISA today.
Padres leading 1-0. First inning run against Rick Russell, who has had a lot of success against the Padres in his career. 18-8 lifetime. In fact, he's 11-4 since 1978. He's handled them well.
Yes, he has. I would like to mention, Wayne, that Steve Physiak could not be on this trip to San Diego. He will join us when we get to Houston.
Jose Uribe hits the first pitch, and there is Roberto Alomar, and he throws him out. Alomar, and I think this is something you can appreciate, Kipe, even late in the ball game, especially late in the ball game, but we saw it here, he has such a good arm that he can play as deep as he wants to. I saw him playing on the outfield turf last night for Will Clark.
And you can see where he ends up. He ends up almost 5 to 10 feet on the outfield grass, and I'll tell you what, that increases your range by about the same amount of feet that I just mentioned.
Rick Russell takes a strike. 2 men out for the Giants here in the top half of inning number 3 for San Diego. Glad you're with us. And another ground ball. Templeton will take care of this. Moreland with a little fancy footwork over at first, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. 9 up, 9 down against Ed Whitson. Will go to the bottom of the third. 1-0 Padres.
More small businesses start up in California than anywhere else.
Well, your business plan looks good. We're extending startup capital.
You won't regret it.
Oh, one last thing. Have you thought about a phone system?
Not yet.
Call Pacific Bell. You can start small and add lines as you need them. And it's in their office, so you don't have to buy all that expensive hardware.
Good. I've got better plans for this money.
For business phone systems, your best call is to call on us. Pacific Bell.
Mark and Brian rocking LA. It's another hot one out there. 98 sweltering degrees and no relief in sight. It's hot, hot, hot.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Man, it sure goes
for one of these. Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
We have a slightly revised forecast. It's cold. Go.
We knew all we needed was some institution that would say, we trust you guys.
If you want someone to work with you on a home loan, call Home Savings.
Home half of the third inning, 1 run on 2 hits for the Padres. The Giants don't have anybody yet on base. Don't miss it Sunday, September 25th, where the Giants will say thank you to their fans throughout the Giants-Dodgers 105 game. The Giants will be giving away prizes as part of Fan Appreciation Day. You can sign up at the Dugout Stores, Giants Executive Office, or call Teletron now for tickets to Fan Appreciation Day, Sunday, September the 25th. Marvell Wynn the second time around against Russia. And a base hit scored the game's only run. Breaking ball and behind the back. Good play by Clark. He'll take it upon himself to retire Marvell Wynn. A lot of ground ball outs early in this one on both sides.
And a lot of quick outs. As you're going to see Wynn pull the ball. Will Clark playing just a little bit off the line. Will braces himself and he says, I got it all by myself. This looks like charge of the light brigade by Will Clark.
Here's 20-year-old Roberto Alomar. He flied out and foul ground to Aldretti in inning number 1. Aldretti with a spectacular catch last night. One of many, but his was the best. Ball 2.
It's not unusual for Rick Russell to give up a couple of runs early.
There's a line drive, base hit to left. And Aldretti has trouble with it, and the hustle of Alomar puts him in scoring position with 1 man out. Single and an error. Giants have made 2 errors in the outfield.
And I'm not sure what happens here to Mike Aldretti. And Mike did everything he could to keep the ball in front of him, but it still got away from him. And Alomar, who runs pretty well, he should. He's only 20 years old. He hustles on into second base. Just looked like the ball came up on Mike a little bit. Now second error for the Giants outfielders.
And here's Carmelo Martinez. There's a curveball. Ball 1. He reached on an error. Drop fly ball by Candy Maldonado in the first inning. Ball 2.
And it's hard to explain why the better pitchers around Major League Baseball, if they do have problems, they have those problems early. It just seems like it takes them a little while to get loose.
That's a foul ball over the head of Sandy Alomar Sr.
There's Senior, proud father of one big leaguer in Roberto Alomar, and of course he's got another son who is a catcher, Sandy Alomar Jr., who they say is just fabulous.
They say he's got the potential to be better offensively than Benito Santiago. Here's a fly ball foul off to the right. They say he already is the equal defensively to Santiago, which I say is saying a lot. They say he doesn't throw to the bases as often as Benito, which means he doesn't pick off as many people.
Well, I think Benito's a show-off. In other words, he's got a good arm and he likes to throw the ball around the infield, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Clark on a short hop. That'll enable the runner to go to third, but 2 men out now. Another ground ball out. That'll bring up John Kruk. We're talking about the 2 Alomars there. Sandy Alomar Jr. had surgery back on the 14th of August, so nearly a month ago. He had some cartilage damage in his left knee. He was catching the pitchers warming up in the bullpen last night. He's about 95%. He said today, prior to batting practice, which he took, said, I'm ready to go.
It's great to be young. Bounce back from those injuries.
Of course, there's a lot of talk about a possible trade. Santiago or Alomar.
Well, I had mentioned that I'm sure that the Padres are receiving a lot of phone calls from different teams from around the major leagues. And they are in a very nice position where they could pick up a lot of talent for one of those two guys.
John Kruk takes a strike. He came up with the RBI base hit in the first inning to give the Padres the lead they enjoy right now, 1-0. You know, the Mets were involved in a rumored trade with them. Padres really laughed at that way. That's ball 3. Gary Carter, Lenny Dykstra, Sid Fernandez, and Dave Magadan. Dykstra didn't bother the Padres, but they want either and Dykstra and Cone, David Cone, fouled back to the screen, or they would like to see Lenny Dykstra and Ron Darling. They want a top-line pitcher. They want a blockbuster.
Well, it sounds like they want the entire Mets franchise, and I can see why the Mets would chuckle. Jack McKeon hidden by Padres pitching coach Pat Dobson.
Well, what a job he's done.
He's going to have a tough time turning down the manager's job next year.
Deep drive to right center field. That one's got a chance of going, and Butler goes back to the fence to make another brilliant catch. The ball is really sailing this time of year in San Diego. It is not a heavy air, and Butler just kept running. And he's been worth every cent they paid him in 1988. We'll go to the 4th, 1-0, San Diego.
I think this trip's getting to Mom and Dad. They've been acting strange.
TWA means New York.
They've been yelling at me in days. And I haven't been that good.
TWA means Boston.
The other day, I caught them holding hands.
TWA means Washington. Significant restrictions may apply.
You know, they're really pretty nice once you get to know them.
Today's TWA.
You've got the magic touch. It makes me glow so much. It casts a spell. It rings a bell. The magic touch.
On your next business trip, feel the Hyatt touch.
The magic touch.
You know, when I pitch, I used to have trouble in the late innings, but I won't have any trouble pitching my favorite beer, Miller Lite. Light's less filling, and it's light's less filling, and it's light's less filling, and it's
That's it for today, Mike. Bad delivery.
Oh.
Hey, Raleigh, finish it up. And it tastes great, too.
No matter how you pitch him, there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
It's become a baseball cliche to say the guy who made the great catch leads off the next inning, but here's living proof.
I never thought that Butler had a chance at catching this ball, but I guess because it was hit so high, it enabled Butler to get over there. It really was a fantastic play. And I think you really could only appreciate it if you're sitting at the level we're at, because he had to go a long way to get that ball. And I thought for a second that it was going to go out of here.
He takes a breaking ball for a strike, 1-2. Thompson to follow, and then Will Clark. The Giants trying to get a run on the board, if not more. They have not been supporting Rick Rushell in the last 4 outings. This is his 5th try at victory number 18. There's that straight change, and that's where Pat Dobson, you talked about him earlier in the dugout alongside Jack McKeon, the manager and general manager. Pat Dobson has done a remarkable job with this ball club.
Yes, he has, and I think it takes a guy that really had to use all of his stuff when he pitched. And Dauber was not a guy that could go out there and strike out 10 people with his fastball. He had to use his breaking ball. He had to trick hitters. And usually those guys are the ones that make outstanding pitching coaches. And he has brought a lot to this Padres staff.
Fastball just a bit high. Full count, 3-2. Pat Dobson on the right has taught his pitchers the straight change. which is the same release as the fastball. No rotation. That is what really messes up the hitters. Ground ball to shortstop. Templeton scoops and fires. Out number 1.
Well, the Giants trivia, which Giants player holds the franchise record for the most pinch hits in one season?
Here's Robbie Thompson. He grounded out to shortstop in his only at bat tonight. Another thing that Dobson has brought to his pitchers and embedded in their minds. Remember how you got the hitter out. Don't be relieved that you did. And how many times have you heard that?
That's the truth. And maybe one of the intangibles about Pat Dobson is I'm sure that he has brought his pitchers and taught them the same type of sense of humor that he has. In other words, don't take things too seriously, but when you go out there, make sure that you give 100%, which doesn't sound like it takes a genius to do those things, but he does forget about the game when it's over with.
2 balls and a strike to Robbie Thompson. To give you an example, the Padres pitchers have 12 more complete games than they had a year ago. They have the fewest relief appearances in the league. Pitch misses for a ball. And that's amazing. Dave Leeper and Mark Grant worked in the game last night. Greg Booker is the other long man. They have really been the long-lost trio. They haven't been used much at all this year. Grounded foul. Heck, when they show up here at San Diego Stadium going to the game, people are kind of looking around in their scorecard to find out who they are. There's the bullpen. Mark Davis with a brilliant year. Mark Grant on the right. And that's Dennis Rasmussen, the big, tall left-hander sitting in the middle. Fly ball hit the deep left field. Martinez going back. It is gone. A home run for Robbie Thompson, who was 0 for 12 against the man you just saw lifetime. He was 0 for 12 against Ed Whitson, and he has tied the game with his 6th home run of the year.
Also the first base hit for the Giants tonight off of Whitson. Robbie Thompson likes the ball up in the strike zone. And you can see that's where the pitch was. Robbie had an idea as soon as he hit it that this ball was going to get out of here.
Back to live action. Clark just swung and missed. Strike 1. You know, Whitson really gave up a lot of home runs last year. How about 36? That led the National League. That was just his 15th home run that he has allowed in just about 190 innings.
Well, I think you can go back to the guy we're talking about, Pat Dobson.
Sails outside and high, 1-1. Well, he used to rely on a lot of trick pitches. I mean, Ed Whitson would throw as many as 6 or 7 pitches, and what Dobson has him doing now is convinced him to perfect 3. Fouled away, 1 and 2. And here's a guy who really liked the palm ball. You won't see him throw it much. He has perfected that straight change. He's got that slider and a fastball now. I know catchers used to run out of fingers to try to give him signs for pitches. There's the fastball. You know another thing they're saying, Kike? The 2-2 count to Clark. That Ed Woodson has more velocity in this season. He's age 33 than ever before. That one's wrapped back up in the middle, center field. Base hit for Clark, who almost stumbled around first. So the Giants have 2 hits here in the inning.
Well, with the Padres shading Will Clark to pull, Will takes his fastball and he hits it up the middle. Alomar does not have a chance. And you can see Marvell Wynn having the same problem that Mike Aldretti had. Had Clark not stumbled, he may have taken a shot at second base.
Appears to be a very slick outfield and a very bouncy one. Candy Maldonado grounded out to third his first time. Tim Flannery playing very deep at third base and hugging the line. Slider outside.
Well, getting back to your point about Whitson, we can't tell how hard he's throwing from here, but we can hear how that home plate microphone is picking up Santiago catching his fastball. And it sounds like he's throwing pretty hard.
Throw to first to keep Clark close.
Although there are catchers that can make a guy sound like he's throwing a lot harder than he really is. Pitchers like to throw to those guys.
Check swing, roller to second base. Alomar, Templeton can't make the throw, but tries anyway, and it's too late. Clark going after Templeton. Templeton just did a little hop, skip, and a jump to get over him. I was really surprised that he was going to throw. Did you see the tap by Templeton on Clark? That's the one thing I appreciate about Clark. He goes all out.
Yes, he does. He's going to go hard into Gary Templeton. And Templeton, trying to get out of the way, has to double clutch. And Templeton may not appreciate the fact that Will Clark did not enable him to turn a double play, but that's just hard baseball.
And Templeton, from the old school, can appreciate such things. Here's Aldretti. Swings late on a fastball. Ran it out to second base his first time. Despite all that by Clark, he almost got Maldonado at first base. Give you an idea how quickly Alomar got rid of that ball. Ball at a strike.
Well, anytime a hitter is jammed like Candy Maldonado was, it's going to give you a slow start out of the batter's box. You get out a lot more quicker if you take a full swing as opposed to a check swing or getting jammed like Candy did.
There are a lot of good young second basemen in the league now. Robbie Thompson, Juan Samuel, Ron Gant now moving to third in Atlanta. All three.
Certainly has been a quality position in the National League.
How about first base?
I guess the right side of the infield is covered pretty well in both leagues.
Hard to pick an all-star. There goes the runner, and is fouled off to the left. It'll be a full count, 3-2. The runner will be going automatically. That's Candy Maldonado.
And on the other hand, I suppose the shortage in the major leagues right now would be behind home plate. And I'm not talking about umpires.
And that's why there's such value with Santiago and Sandy Alomar Jr. Hit sharply to the deep playing Roberto Alomar. That'll do it. But the Giants score a run to tie it on the 6th home run of the year by Robbie Thompson. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. We're tied at 1 in San Diego.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one. Yeah, if you want a beer whose real draft taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft.
It's as real as it gets.
I want a man with a slow hand. He's got a face that I love to touch.
Introducing the new Schick Ultrex Plus. Its pivoting head has a lubricating comfort strip and one push cleaning to shave you smoother than ever.
A touch this easy makes me understand. When it comes to love, I want a slow
New Schick Ultrex Plus, the easy touch for the ultimate shave.
I said we'd win the division last year. Some people didn't believe me. Now I'm going to make another prediction. Good seats at Candlestick are going to be scarce this year, so get them now.
The bottom of the 4th has arrived here at Jack Murphy Stadium. Giants won and the Padres won. And for the fan who has everything, check out one of the Giants dugout stores. You'll find a unique assortment of team merchandise. There's 3 convenient locations, 170 Grant Avenue in San Francisco, Ceremony Center in Daly City, or Valley Fair in San Jose. Keith Moreland set to lead it off for the Padres against Rick Russell. He lined out to the third baseman his first time, and this time it'll be the second baseman. Easy line drive to Robbie Thompson. Out number 1. If you have not heard the news tonight, and if you have, I'm hoping that you didn't get the erroneous report. We're talking about Mike Krukow, who had surgery today, arthroscopic surgery, to clean up that cartilage problem in his right shoulder. But Dr. Campbell performed that surgery today, also with the scope able to find some damage to that rotator cuff. The erroneous report earlier was that it was a torn rotator cuff. Here's a foul ball off the bat of Santiago, who's 0 for 1. Now, the medical term is fraying, and the only way I can kind of describe it to you, if you've ever opened up a golf ball and the rubber inside kind of unravels, that's basically what happened to the shoulder. I mean, that's the easiest way to describe it. And they went in there and shaved that. They decided not to opt for surgery. Had Krukow been younger, in his 20s, I'm sure perhaps that would have been the case. But at age 36, they feel with 6 months of rehabilitation, he will be able to pitch in 1989. We are wishing the best to Mike Krukow tonight.
Yeah, and if Mike is watching back in the Bay Area, we certainly want to wish him well. Mike will always be a friend first for yours truly, and I do not want to see Mike Krukow have to hang it up, and I'm certain that he's not going to.
Another bouncing ball to shortstop. Uribe takes care of Santiago. 2 men out here in the 4th.
In speaking with Dave Aus from the PR department of the Giants, he explained to us that there were some reports going around San Francisco that Mike Krukow's career was over because the reports that they had received that it was a rotator cuff tear and it was all over for Mike Krukow. That's not the case.
Tim Flannery takes a strike. Well, you know Kruk wants to come back, and I know the Giants want him back.
He'll be back.
Outside for a ball. You know the guy out on the mound tonight, Rick Rushell, is looking to win 20 for the 2nd time in his career. He did it back in 1977. Outside, 2-1 the count. He said that was not that important to him. What is important, that he gets ever so closer to that 200 win plateau. He has 192 tucked away safely. That's a base hit. Quick infield that time. Bounced right past Uribe. And for the Padres, that is hit number 4 in the game.
Now, once the football season starts here in San Diego, this infield is going to get a lot quicker than it normally is, and you can see that ball shoots right past Uribe. Anytime you get involved in a stadium that is used by football and baseball, the field, it's going to be damaged a little bit.
Gary Templeton fouled out at his only at bat.
I have to say, though, the grounds crew at Candlestick really does a great job after the 49ers play on it.
Fly ball down the left field line. That is slicing foul and out of play. Rick Rushell, in his bid to get 20 victories this year, is going to work on 3 days rest for the remainder of this season, including tonight. That means he will have 5 starts. That's as many as they can get for him. Low and in.
Well, you know, you talked about Rick Rushell. Here is a guy, and I'm speaking it along the same vein with Mike Krukow. Mike now has something to prove. You know, critics are saying maybe it's over with. They said that about Rick Rushell.
Robbie Thompson to Uribe, the short way to take care of Flannery. That ends things here at the 4th. More to come from San Diego with a tie ball game, 1-1.
Your balance is...
If this is your bank's idea of 24-hour service, you're listening to the wrong bank. Talk to Wells Fargo and get real people anytime you want. Yours with Wells Fargo Checking. No other California bank offers real people who can handle over 100 different transactions anytime from any phone. Wells Fargo proven 24-hour person-to-person checking. You've got to hear it to believe it.
Everyone knows certain times are better than others to buy a new car, especially when a dealer needs to clear out just a few of this year's models to make room for next year's. So if you're looking to make a great deal, this is a good time to talk to your Toyota dealer. With over 5,088 Toyotas in stock right now, we think he's in the mood to listen.
It's this Wednesday and Thursday. Macy's White Flower Day sale and store-wide savings. Save 50% on a Panasonic microwave, just $190. This RCA VCR is only $250. And save 50% on Sealy, Simmons, and Stearns & Foster mattresses. Sale prices start at just $65 each piece. The White Flower Day sale, this Wednesday and Thursday at Macy's.
Ernest Riles takes the first pitch. In there, strike one. Riles hit a comebacker to Ed Whitson. That was in the second inning. We're in the top half of the fifth, a 1-1 tie. Fouled away off to the left. You know, there have been 4 grand slams hit tonight in Major League Baseball. Hubie Brooks, Damon Berryhill in the National League. Jesse Barfield, Jim Rice in the American League. 1-2 the count to Riles. He'll be followed by Kurt Manwaring and then Jose Uribe. There's a straight change as a base hit to center. Now, as I look down on that particular pitch, I have a feeling that it is the straight change because I was told by Pat Dobson prior to the ball game that the pitcher, Ed Whitson, has discarded the palm ball, but in a way it looked like it might have been the palm ball.
Yeah, well, whatever it was up in the strike zone. Ernest Riles normally would not attack that pitch if it were a fastball that high in the strike zone, but because it was off speed, he got around on it.
Pitch out. Riles wasn't going anywhere. Kurt Manwaring the batter. In one of his most recent starts, Ed Whitson, despite what Pat Dobson told him about getting rid of that palm ball, he decided to throw one palm ball that night. And Chris James of the Phillies hit a home run. That was the only run against him. Hit and run, foul off to the right. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kurt Manwaring looks to be the type of guy with Riles there at first base that can perform that hit and run pretty nicely. He can go to right.
Pretty good bat control, and he does like to take the ball to right field, so I think it's a good position for Roger Craig to use one of Roger's favorite offensive plays, and that, of course, is the hit and run.
Riles back to the bag standing. Manwaring 0 for 1 in this one. We're tied at 1 run apiece. 1 run on 4 hits for the Padres, 1 run on 3 hits for the Giants. Roger Craig back in what is now his hometown, not too far away from here, but he loves Southern California. There's that slider. 1-2. 75 miles from here is his ranch, but it isn't your usual freeway 75 miles. I mean, he's up and down and around curves, and I guess he had some kind of a mountain lion or something in his area last night.
I guess Roger likes that stuff. That would be good cause for me to move. There's the hum baby.
Norm Sherry also there on the right, makes his home in San Diego. That's going to get down for extra bases. Riles heading to third. He's going to be waved in by Fahey. And the Giants will take the lead of 2-1 on the double by Manwaring, who drilled it into left center field. There's part of the price that has been paid by manager Jack McKeon of the Padres. In that, late August, he decided to go to 3 outfielders who will bring him offense but not defense.
And this ball hit right in between them. And what Whitson did is he had gotten Manwaring to look silly on a slider. He comes back with another one. This one not quite as far outside as Whitson would have liked it. And Manwaring hits it into left center with Jack McKeon looking on.
Uribe fouls it back. Jack McKeon, late August, decided to move Tony Gwynn to center field and put Carmelo Martinez in left field, John Kruk in right. They don't have very good speed, although Gwynn is an outstanding outfielder, but Marvell Wynn out there, and we're not even sure if Tony Gwynn's going to be able to perform the rest of this year. But they have given up some defense with the lack of speed for offense. There's Tony Gwynn. Boy, he's a frustrated individual. Right now, tied for second with Rafael Palmeiro at 308 in the National League batting derby. The guy who is leading is Gerald Perry of the Braves by 1 percentage point, 309. That's popped up to Templeton. Veteran shortstop will have this in his hip pocket. That's out number 1 of the 5th inning. And here's Russell. Bounced to short his first time. There's the real question. Is anybody going to hit 300 in the National League? I mean, if Gwynn remains on the bench, he will. But those other guys, I mean, it's not in the bank that they're going to hit 300. Top foul. I mean, I remember Bob Brenly back in 1984. You remember it well. He was hitting over 300 with 3 weeks to go. Ended up at 291. Jeffrey Leonard told him, hey, man, you've done your job. We're not in the pennant race. Just sit down. Take it easy. Get that 300.
Well, I've been there. I was at 306 with 3 games to go. I ended up at 295.
Ouch.
And I'll tell you what. You start figuring out your average when you're running from home to first. And it is not any fun. And that's probably one of the reasons why it happens that way. You start taking it way too serious.
Fouled away at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Russell. 1 man out. A run home, runner at second base.
Guys start playing for those magic numbers, and you really have to be careful that you don't forget that your main objective when you take the field is to help your team win, and you should really forget about those personal stats. It's hard to do, and I'm not sure many players can do it. I think they're always aware of where they're at as far as hitting 300, number of RBIs and home runs, that type of thing. Your main objective is to get a win in that win column. But 300 would have been nice, I got to tell you.
Just outside, 2-2 to Russell. Did you see that picture of Tony Gwynn? I mean, you could have the caption above his head, he is not a happy camper.
Working on those sunflower seeds, that's what happens when you sit on the bench. You got to figure out all these different things to do to occupy your time.
That's going to loop into shallow left. It's going to drop. Manwaring is going to be held at third as Martinez comes up with it. Russell has a bloop hit to left. And the Giants have runners at the corners with 1 man out, and Brett Butler coming up.
See, Big Daddy loops this one into center field. Now, Manwaring, he has to make a decision at second base. He held up to make sure that that ball fell in. And once you hold up, you're not going to make it. Now it's up to Brett Butler with 1 out to make sure that he can get Manwaring in from third base. You know, guys will practice that in spring training throughout the season. They will stand at second base and read the ball off of the hitter's bat. And in that particular play, I think Manwaring read it wrong.
That one hit Butler. It is not a wild pitch. Manwaring will have to go back to third, and Butler is down. That pitch riding in on him hit him in the leg somewhere.
Well, I hope it didn't hit him right on the kneecap. But from what I saw on the monitor, if it did hit him on the kneecap, it came awful close. Yep, he's pointing right on the kneecap. Now, if it hits you above it or below it, it's certainly going to be a lot better than if it hits you directly on top of the knee.
To give somebody an idea what it would feel like, take a hammer and just pop yourself on the kneecap, and that's exactly what it feels like. He's going to be all right and walk on down to first base. Talk about a guy who's given it his all this year.
And it hit his back knee. Butler trying. You can see he's got the open stance. So he gets the front one out of the way. And I don't care if it's a glancing blow or not. You start taking them for your team on the kneecap, it's going to hurt a little bit.
One of those long relievers starting to warm up in the bullpen for the Padres. That's left-hander Dave Leeper, as Robbie Thompson has a chance to hit with the bases loaded. He hit a grand slam against the Padres last year. There's Dave Leeper. He was in the A's organization, now with the Padres the last couple of years. Had some elbow problems, but he's back. That one's popped up, foul and out of play. Santiago will not have a chance. And it's 1-1 to Robbie Thompson. He hit a home run in the 4th inning to tie up the ball game against Ed Whitson. We mentioned that time he was 0 for 12 lifetime against Ed, so he got even. He quickly forgot those 12 at-bats and thought about lucky 13. Ball 2. Butler at first base. Big Daddy at second. Manwaring hoping to get home from third with 1 man out. Whitson trying to get out of the jam. Hit into right center field. It'll be the right fielder Kruk making the catch. Manwaring is coming. Here's the throw, and he is safe. For the Giants take a 3-1 lead. It was hit deep enough. You saw Kruk call off Marvell Wynn because Kruk has a better arm than Marvell, and yet his throw could not nail the runner. Robbie Thompson with his 2nd RBI of the game.
Now Robbie Thompson just gets under it a little bit. And as you mentioned, Padres sacrificing a little bit of defense. Manwaring going in head first. But Kruk gets in good position. And he only has to take 1 step before he throws it. Everything was done technically right.
Clark takes a strike.
But it doesn't matter. Sacrifice fly. Fine camera work by our crew here in San Diego. Of course, our director, Jim Lynch, who always does a fine job.
Clark singled his last time back up to the middle. Clark's had a lot of success against this right-hander, hitting nearly 500 against him, including a couple of home runs. That one could drop, but will be a foul ball.
And
broke his bat.
Will Clark's going to have to go back and go with his backup. Whitson doesn't look like a guy who even knows how to pitch around someone. He certainly isn't doing that to Will Clark. He's going right at him. That hasn't been the case with Will Clark in the batter's box all of the time this year, as we even saw teams walk Will Clark leading off an inning. You can see the way the Padres set up defensively. Alomar way back on the grass.
That's a good shot. We were talking about that earlier. That's because of that tremendous arm. He got Clark. The confrontation goes to Whitson in that engagement, but the Giants scored twice in the inning, and they take a 3-1 lead into the bottom of the 5th in San Diego.
At Chevron, we've been taking a long, hard look at ourselves.
Nice to see you again. Nice to see you again.
Come back soon. Come back real soon. Hi. How are you? Hi. How are you?
And while we're the first to admit that not every station is absolutely perfect, we're working on it. Chevron, we fuel your freedom.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Anyone draft anyone? Not the time.
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
Citibank has this 800 number you can call. Well, I couldn't believe it when they called me.
I noticed unusually heavy activity on her Citibank MasterCard. I suspected someone got one of her carbons and was charging on her card fraudulently.
He told me I wasn't responsible for those charges. While he was talking, I thought, am I glad my MasterCard is with Citibank? With any other bank, chances are I'd be the one doing the talking.
Not just MasterCard.
Citibank MasterCard.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Francisco Giants and is solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and account of this game, including that foul ball, without the express written consent of the San Francisco Giants, is prohibited. Ed Woodson. Fouls into the catcher's mitt. 0-2 the count. Whitson, then Marvell Wynn, and Roberto Alomar. This is the difference between Larry Boa and Jack McKeon, according to the Padres. That one's going to drop over the head of Robbie Thompson, base hit. And what I mean by that is that Boa had the reputation of having a pretty quick hook. And, for example, last night, Andy Hawkins was not at his best, and yet McKeon stood with him.
This telecast is brought to you in part by Pacific Bell.
And sure enough, Hawkins went on and continued on to the game into the late innings. But he stays with his starters more so than Bo even dreamed of. Here's a line drive to right. That'll drop in front of the on-rushing Maldonado. And all of a sudden, the Padres have runners at first and second and nobody out. And that is their 6th hit of the night against Rick Russell. Brings up Alomar.
Well, to carry that point a little further, Wayne, I think it's awful tough for a starting pitcher to be out there and constantly looking over into the dugout and also looking into the bullpen to see if your manager is getting someone up down there to loosen up. It's a lot easier to go out there and know that the manager obviously has confidence in you, and he is going to let you work out of the jams that you get in.
Alomar bunts unsuccessfully. Strike one.
You know, there's nothing worse than having a pitcher put himself in a position where he's got a couple of guys on base, get the hook, reliever comes in, and the reliever allows your runs to score. And that's not the case, as you mentioned, with Jack McKeon. Shows a lot of confidence in his starters, and I think it shows how successful you can be if you do build up the confidence of your staff. As you see Robbie going out having a talk with Rick Russell, probably just trying to get the signs right. If Alomar is going to bunt, who is going to go where and where the ball should be thrown if he lays it down in fair territory.
He squares the bunt, and the pitch is high for a ball. 1 strike. Riles was coming from third, Clark from first. That meant Uribe was going to cover at third base. There's Sandy Alomar Sr., third base coach. To third base. Nobody covering there, so Riles will throw to first. The sacrifice executed perfectly by Roberto Alomar. 5-3 on the putout. And here's Carmelo Martinez.
Nice job by Alomar. Now, if he would have bunted this on the prior pitch, the Giants would have had a force play at third base. But Alomar, middle infielder, he has a chance to see the whole diamond while he is in the batter's box, knowing that the rotation play was not on. Uribe would not be covering third, so he goes and bunts it right at Ernest Riles.
Martinez 0 for 2 in the game. He's got the tying runners on base at second and third. The pitch is very high, as you see, 1-0. That was the 16th sacrifice bunt by Roberto Alomar. Martinez hit a home run last night against the Giants, his 14th. Driven in 55. A 3-1 ball game. Giants leading. And he got underneath it. Aldretti might have a shot at the runner. The pitcher, Ed Woodson at third. The throw to the plate. It's going to be close. He is out at home plate. A tremendous play by Kurt Manwaring to block it off. And a beautiful throw by Aldretti. He did it with a glove last night. Does it with the arm here. And Whitson tried but failed. Mike Scioscia would have been proud of this one. I don't know how he fielded it to get him. 3-1 Giants will go to the 6th.
What's the smart way to find 2 on the aisle?
I've been searching.
The Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages.
So go find it.
What's the smart way to get away from it all?
I've been searching.
The Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages.
So go find it.
What's the smart way to get your kicks?
I've been searching.
The Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages.
So go find it.
I think this trip's getting to Mom and Dad. They've been acting strange.
TWA means New York.
They've been yelling at me in days, and I haven't been that good.
TWA means Boston.
The other day, I caught them holding hands.
TWA means Washington. Significant restrictions may apply.
You know, they're really pretty nice once you get to know them.
Today's TWA.
And now, another great feud in history.
And so this sheriff who would oppress peasants and hunt down my merry men now steals the fair maid Marion. What shall be his fate, men? By the way, nice outfit. Cement slippers. Community service. Kill his mother.
No, boil him in oil.
Good answer. Survey says the #1 answer.
Hi, this is Ray Combs. Join me Monday, September 19th at 7:30 for the premiere of the all-new Family Feud, right here on Channel 2.
Giants lead by a score of 3-1, thanks largely in part to the efforts of Aldretti and Manwaring.
Well, I think you made the proper call, Wayne, when you said, I don't know how Manwaring even caught that ball. He was shielded by Ed Whitson. Whitson's coming down the line hard. He obviously knows it's going to be a close place. And Manwaring put the glove down. The ball's in it. Blocks home plate, and as you mentioned, Mike Scioscia would have been proud. Nice play by that young man.
Feeling much more confident these days. Maldonado drills it to left field and deep. This one's got a chance. It is gone. Maldonado hits his 11th home run of the year and his second in the last 24 hours here in the border town, and the Giants lead it 4-1.
Well, Candy putting on a little salary drive. That term not used that much anymore. Even 10 years ago, guys would really go after it in the month of September, try to get a raise. Candy has a pretty good idea that he got enough of this. 2 home runs in 2 nights. Last night, dead center field. This one in the left center.
And Aldretti, the batter, takes Lowell. In the old days, when they opened up this ballpark for play with the Padres back in 1969, that would have been a double. You had to hit it in the seats to get it out of here. Nubbed up the third base side, but foul. That's why Dave Winfield was so frustrated. And Nate Colbert, Willie McCovey. There's one reaction. There's another. Goodbye. And Candy having a good series. 1-2.
Now, Ed Whitson's probably the reason why I am sitting in the booth. Not because I had a tough time facing Whitson, but he was the guy that I was traded for.
There's a base hit to left field. Aldretti has his first hit. And the crowd getting on Martinez because he didn't really go after the ball.
This telecast is brought to you in part by Home Savings of America.
And Pat Dobson, the pitching coach, is making his way to the mound to talk with Ed Whitson. We're talking about the home run ball. Last year, Whitson tattooed for 36 homers. He's given up 2 here tonight to Thompson and Maldonado. That means he's given up 16 this year, and he is kind of questioning what's going on out there.
Well, it can happen quick. Whitson breezed along and retired the first 10 Giant hitters, and then, of course, the home run by Robbie Thompson in the 4th inning.
Well, Whitson is going to be sent to the showers. That's the new pitcher, Dave Leeper. We've got a break in the action here in San Diego. Giants leading 4-1, and we will be right back.
kiddo, time for bed. Mom's orders.
Ah, the virtues of milk. Milk helps supply protein
What you doing?
for strong muscles,
I've got homework.
vitamin B complex
I'm thirsty.
for a steady nervous system,
Night now.
some carbohydrate
I need my blanket.
to boost your energy level.
Let me study.
And milk has some thiamine to help keep up your morale.
We're home.
Milk,
Aren't you done with your homework?
it does a body good.
Some people consider a hardware store a place to go when things need fixing. To Sister Mary Elizabeth, this hardware store has become a blessing. The one store that always has the right item to do the job and the time to explain just how to do it. Good things happen when a store understands service. This one does.
For the right item at the right price, right now. Choose Orchard.
It used to be fish, now it's seafood. To me, it's still fish, but it sure tastes good, real good, since the wife started shopping Safeway's Fish Market.
There's a reason for that. Nobody sells more fresh seafood than we do. We boat it in, fly it in, truck it in every day. Depend on it. If it's fresh and available, Safeway's got it. That's Safeway Service Plus.
Special things we do, especially for you. We're Safeway.
Back here, San Diego, a 3-1 lead for the Giants here at the top of the 6th inning. A run is home. Aldretti's at first base. And we have a new pitcher in the game. That is left-hander Dave Leeper. And a pinch hitter to face him. There's Leeper. And Chris Spire is going to be the batter. Leeper is 1-0, 2.11 ERA. And Spire takes a strike. He is batting for Riles. It was 1 for 2 in this one. Riles, a left-handed batter. Roger Craig elected to go to the bench to Spire. 221 average. That throw keeping Aldretti close. Leeper worked in the game last night, inning in 2/3. Had a couple of strikeouts and a walk. It was his first outing since August the 29th in New York. Ball 1.
Chris Spire, another player that fall into the category as you see Fahey going through the signs. Al Rosen and Roger Craig will have to make a decision on whether Chris Spire will be back next year. I shouldn't see why not. He has done a fine job again in 1988.
Ground ball to shortstop. Templeton to Alomar. To first. Double play. So one pitch. And Spire grounds out into the double play. 6-4-3.
See Templeton playing this ball off to his side as he gets into his position to toss to Alomar at second base. Tempe got into that position a little bit early. Regardless, still a 6-4-3 DP.
Kurt Manwaring, one of the defensive stars of the night, takes a strike. Giants leading 4-1. Manwaring has a double in this game.
And with that double play, Wayne, you can close the book on Whitson. 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs. He didn't walk a hitter, but he did strike out 1.
There's a fly ball into right center field. Coasting over is Marvell Wynn, and he has it, and the inning is over. Top half of the 6th, the Giants get a run on a couple of hits. Don't leave anybody. Go to the bottom of the 6th, 4-1. San Francisco leading San Diego.
Tires. We know you don't think about them much, but man, what the right set can do for your car. For when baby needs a new set of shoes, BF Goodrich TAs. We make your car perform.
Harry, if
You don't want to end up in court? You better send us child support.
I'm calling about your son, Grover. You better send money. His ski trip's over.
Send the money now, you dig? Or we won't make our next gig.
To send someone money fast, come to Western Union. We'll make sure it gets to any of our 10,000 locations, usually in 15 minutes or less.
Cruising.
Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
This is the first house I have owned on my own, so it felt very good to make it happen.
If you want a home loan of your very own, call Home Savings.
5 innings left. The Giants have given Rick Russell a 3-run cushion to work in the bottom of the 6th. Just a reminder, fans, when you're purchasing your Giants tickets, don't forget the new Giants Family Pavilion. This special section offers fans an area free of alcohol and smoking, and these seats are only $5. Call Teletron now for tickets to the Giants at the Family Pavilion. Operators are standing by. John Kruk leads it off against Rick Russell here in the 6th inning. Kruk 1 for 2 in the game. In fact, the last time up, he sent Brett Butler back to the track and right in front of the fence. Butler hauled it in for the out, ran into the fence, fouled off to the left. 1-1. You know, Kip, we were talking about Rick Russell, the fact that Roger Craig is trying to give him a lot more starts. 4 more after tonight's affair. See if he can ring up 20 victories. He also said tonight he's going to give Don Robinson a chance for the ERA title. He needs 164 innings to do it, and he's got 140 in a 3rd innings right now. Here's a fly ball to right. Maldonado should capture that one. He does. Out number 1. That'll bring up Keith Moreland.
He needs how many more innings to qualify?
He needs 13 2/3 innings. Make that 23 2/3 innings. And right now he's at 2.50. David Cone leading the National League with a 2.21 ERA, but he thinks he's got a pretty good chance. Fastball for a strike.
Well, with the way Robbie's been pitching, I'd say that he'd have an outside chance. He'd have to pass up 5 or 6 pitchers in the National League. But at this point in the season, you know, why not give a guy a shot to salvage a fine year when the ball club certainly hasn't done what it thought it was going to do.
Uribe loves this one. He will take care of Keith Moreland for round number 2 here in the 6th inning.
With the point still being that you're going to do everything you can to win.
Don Robinson will start tomorrow night's game against Jimmy Jones. You'll see that game here on the Giants television network. Phil Garner off to the left there. Santiago is grounded out twice. And he gets a base hit over the leaping Uribe. Hit number 7 for the Padres. The 2 teams even in that department, 7 hits apiece.
Now Big Daddy going after him on the first pitch. Uribe with a fine attempt. Looked like he missed it by about 3 or 4 inches.
Tim Flannery has flied to center, and he is single to center. Fouled off to the left. 0-1.
Anytime you're going up against Rick Russell, you know that in all likelihood you're not going to strike out. He has not struck out a Padre hitter tonight. He is going to give you something to hit. And you're probably going to be frustrated before the evening is finished. Now he's going to give up some base hits. He's pitched 6 or 5 2/3 right now, and he's given up 7 hits. But that's about his average. He'll give up a hit an inning.
That one is slicing foul down the left field line. The thing I like about Russell, when he goes with his sinker to keep the ball down and get the ground balls, you know, it's not easy. Perhaps a gift for some pitchers. I mean, you have to work at it. His release point is different. The grip is different. The finger pressure. He'll use his seams differently. Very few can really do what he does, and that is pitch instead of throw. You have to marvel at his ability to win as he has at age 39. Fly ball, shallow center field, but Butler is there. He has it for the out. So the Padres go rather quietly despite the single by Santiago here in the 6th inning. We will go to the 7th here in San Diego. Russell leading the San Diego Padres by 3.
Good evening. Hurricane Gilbert in the Caribbean has tonight been upgraded to a Category 5 storm, one of the most powerful of the century as it heads for the Texas coast. That report at 10. Closer to home, the Grass Valley area of Nevada County has now been declared a disaster area. Fires continue to rage there. We'll have more on that. The trial of the Oakland school principal accused of having sex with a student and the seeping danger that may be in your home. I'm Dennis Richmond. Those stories are the news at 10.
People ask me if I am still hungry that flamenco dancing was excluded from the Olympic Games. Me? Hungry? No. Which means, of course, at least I can enjoy a great tasting Miller Lite.
To everyone with an Olympic dream, cheers.
You've got the magic touch. It makes me glow so much. It casts a spell. It rings a bell. The magic touch.
On your next vacation, feel the Hyatt touch.
The magic touch.
Top of the 7th inning here at Jack Murphy Stadium. The Giants leading the Padres 4-1. Both clubs with 7 base hits. The Giants have committed a couple of errors. For the Giants, it'll be 8-9-1. Uribe, Russell, and Butler. And to call the action, it'll be Ron Fairley.
Okay, thank you very much. The left-handers out there on the mound. Leeper worked in last night's ball game. He went 1 2/3 innings. Staring down. Here is Jose Uribe getting on the other side of the plate. We saw that gentleman right there when they played some music about an inning or two ago. He was dancing and still able to hold that thing on top of his head.
Oh.
Foul wide of third base. There are times you can see it all right here at the ballpark.
Not a big crowd here at Jack Murphy Stadium.
Ah, future Hall of Famer right there.
Yes, sir. Look like my little boy.
Oh, 2 count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Uribe has bounced out to second, and he's popped up to shortstop.
Uribe hitting over 300, Ron, right-handed.
Yeah, he's a better hitter from this side of the plate, I think. Just outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I don't think that I could have ever had the mental toughness it takes to be a switch hitter. If I was hitting 300 right-handed and 230 left-handed, I know that I'd want to hit right-handed all the time.
High and outside, full count, 3-2.
But switch hitters, you know, they really forget about that. They just, you know, go up there and off a left-hander hit right-handed, and the opposite off a right-hander. So, you know, that's just the way you have to be.
Got him. And Jose Uribe strikes out for out number 1.
A participating sponsor, Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one Light.
Here's Big Daddy coming to plate. He's 1 for 2. He singled his last time up. Giants leading 4-1. And there is strike 1. The tremendous advantage, though, about being a switch hitter is that you always have the ball breaking into you instead of breaking away from you.
Now, you don't have to worry about that nasty slider
1-1.
that is breaking away from you. You can basically keep that shoulder in at all times.
There's a big swing and a miss. 1-2 to Russell. Well, you know, you stand up there at the plate and you see the ball coming at you, and your natural actions would be to get out of the way. There's one bounce toward first base, backhanded by Moreland, and he will win the race to the bag. Not a very fast race, but he won it nevertheless.
Well, Big Daddy, who can run, took his time down the line, and of course Keith Moreland takes his play himself. You can see he looks at the pitcher. He said, no, I think I can beat Russell to the bag. You'd like to stay away from those exchanges to the pitcher if you can, and that's what Moreland did.
So 2 men are gone as Russell makes his way back into the dugout. And here is Butler. He was hit in the knee the last time up. Brett looking for his first hit tonight. He had 2 big hits last night, including an RBI. Has 153 hits on the year, 5th best in the league. So there's all kind of numbers we talked about earlier as far as Butler is concerned. There's strike one. About reaching certain plateaus. It's always nice to be able to hit 300. Well, he's just 5 points away from doing that this year.
And I would think, Ron, that Butler should get some consideration for a Golden Glove in center field.
I think he's going to. Out in front of that pitch. 1-2 now.
A lot of times those awards go to players that are with teams that are in contention. And the Giants have basically been, or have been in contention, at least up until about the 1st of September.
There's a tapper to first base. Going to be a tougher play. This time, Moreland tossing to the pitcher covering. And they do get Butler. 3 up and 3 down go the Giants in their half of the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 6.5, Giants leading 4-1.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. Milk chocolate, that's creamy. Blending crispy, smooth, so dreamy. Gotta have it, it's so scrumptious. Love that chocolate when it crunches. Scrumptious. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
Jack in the Box interrupts this bite to announce a money-back guarantee.
Do it with chicken. Do it with chicken.
We are on our chicken fajita pita.
The chicken other chickens aspire to be.
White meat chicken, grilled onions, cheese.
They sure know their way around a chicken.
And we're so sure you'll love it, it comes with a money-back guarantee. The chicken fajita pita at Jack in the Box. Guaranteed.
It's too cool for this room.
You know how early last season the Reds said they'd taken the heart out of the Giants? You know what we did to them after that? And you know what I say.
Oh, baby, let's do it again.
Giants leading 4-1 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. It'll be Templeton, the pitcher spot, and then Wynn. Well, you can learn the basics of CPR with the Giants on Save a Life Saturday, September 24th. You can sign up for either 8:30, 9:30, or 10:30. Class in Lot C between gates E and F, and all participants will receive a coupon good for 2 free 1989 Giant tickets. Tickets for the Giant Dodger game, 105. Call your local Teletron number now. That's Save a Life Saturday, September 24th. Here is Gary Templeton. And hits it sharply to Robbie Thompson, who will have plenty of time to go to Clark. Out number 1. We're waiting right now to see who's going to be coming out. It's going to be Dickie Thon is going to pinch hit for the pitcher spot. And while he loosens up, we had a trivia question for you earlier. Which Giant player holds the franchise record for the most pinch hits in a season? Well, you wouldn't have to go back very far. 1986, Candy Maldonado was 17. And he broke Dwayne Kuiper's record.
That's my handwriting.
And you wrote that in there. It was a typographical error. You had 27, right?
No, I had 14.
14?
In 1982. I think 4 or 5 guys would have broken it if Candy had.
Here's the pitch underway, and Thon fouls it away. I don't care, 14 hits. That's a lot of pinch hits in a year. It's not easy coming off the bench. I applaud guys that can do that.
Well, it was the first year that I was in the National League, and I think it really gave me a chance to sit back. And I didn't play every day. Joe Morgan played most of the time.
Way out in front of the breaking ball.
And you get a chance to sit back, sit in the dugout, watch all of the new pitchers that you've never seen before. And for me, it was a nice way of breaking into the other league.
Count of 0-2. And he threw the fastball right on by him. Strike 3. That is just the first strikeout in the game for Russell.
Well, Big Daddy doesn't throw the high fastball very often. But if he does get a strikeout, a lot of times it'll come on that high fastball.
You know, he'll show you an 85-mile-an-hour fastball, an 83-mile-an-hour fastball. Here's when. And that is ball 1. And then as soon as you think you've got him pretty well timed, that's when he gives you that 90, 91-mile-an-hour fastball.
He will lull you to sleep with that other stuff.
Hit hard, but foul at first base. See, there are some rumors going around about Dale Murphy.
I saw that.
Fastball a bit high.
I think the offseason is going to be an interesting one.
Well, he's 32 years of age, and he's not having the kind of year that they expected. There's a bouncer to first base. If it stays fair, easy play for Clark. And an easy inning for Rick Russell. 3 up, 3 down go the Padres through 7 innings of play here at Jack Murphy Stadium. Giants leading 4-1.
We carry about 40 different sizes. We carry a full range of shorts. We carry a full range of extra longs. We carry suits and sport coats up to size 54. We carry pants to waist size 50. We carry shirts with a 19 neck. The reason we carry all of these sizes is so that 99.9% of the men who come into the men's warehouse will be able to find products in their size.
Morning. What, no kiss?
Oh, sorry. Lips that touch sugar and preservatives will never touch mine.
Okay.
No. I want real commitment.
Nutri-Grain?
New Kellogg's Nutri-Grain biscuits.
Biscuits?
Think positive.
Oh, no sugar added. No salt, no preservatives? I'm positive I'm going to hate this.
Introducing the only shredded wheat with no preservatives. Nutri-Grain biscuits.
Okay. Now let's talk commitment.
New Nutri-Grain biscuits.
After a long day of eating hot lead, there's nothing better than drinking a cold Miller Lite. Light sure tastes great, and it really is less filling.
Shoot, there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Hey, Joe, give me another. That didn't fill me up at all.
Now pitching for the San Diego Padres, we go to the top of the 8th inning. Giants leading by a score of 4-1. Padres are now sending the right-hander Lance McCullers to the mound. And for McCullers, he is 3-6, ERA at 2.15. He's making his 54th appearance of the year. He also has 9 saves to his credit. First time we have seen him in this series. And he will be facing Robbie Thompson, followed by Clark and Maldonado. Each team with 7 hits. Giants have used the long ball tonight, something that they've not had the use of very much lately. There's a fastball inside ball 1. We were just talking that last half inning. I'd like to continue our thoughts on that about Dale Murphy of the Atlanta Braves.
And you had mentioned.
There's a high towering drive to center field. Win is there. And that is out number 1.
You had mentioned the fact that his numbers were down, and that's true, they are. But I don't know how many great hitters like Murphy have a shortstop hitting behind him. And I'm not taking anything away from Andres Thomas. He's had a pretty good year. But let's face it, you need to put Murphy in a lineup where he's got some help. And if you do that, I'm sure that his numbers would be just where they usually are.
Clark shoots one well to center field. Wynn going back. He's on the warning track, and he makes the catch. Good play by the center fielder, Marvell Wynn. And Clark is out number 2.
See Marvell Wynn. He'll catch this ball and then bump right into the fence. Will Clark about 5 or 6 feet away from his 27th home run and his 99th RBI.
See it from several different angles. And thank heavens those fences give. Good work, camera guys. Here is Candy Maldonado. And there is ball 1. Well, I agree with you, which kind of makes you wonder, wouldn't a ball club then go after a guy like a Dale Murphy, and then maybe this would be the time to strike with the Atlanta Braves with the numbers being down, or so down?
Well, you talk about the Yankees. You know, the Yankees have been throwing names like Mattingly's going to go. Our old buddy Jack Clark, he's going to go.
Way outside.
The love affair between Steinbrenner and Winfield, as you see Lefferts and Trevor Wilson warming up. It almost seems like a natural place for Murphy to go would be to the Yankees, if indeed the Yankees are going to trade some people. On the other hand, Murphy probably has the right to refuse a trade with his time of service with the Atlanta Braves.
That is low, ball 4, and down to first base goes Candy. If you're Dale Murphy, would you choose Yankee Stadium, or how about Fenway or Tiger Stadium?
I think I'd go over to the American League if I had a choice. But Murphy is going to be in a position where he should be able to pick and choose the type of ball club that he would want to go to if indeed the Braves are real serious about trading him. And I think he would probably want to play on a winner. Who wouldn't?
I wouldn't blame him one bit. Here is Aldrete. Mike 1 for 3. And the next pitch is low. That evens up the count of 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, the one thing that Murphy wouldn't have to worry about is showing up on time, like Freddie Lynn and all that stuff that went on in Detroit. Still haven't figured that out yet.
1-1 pitch, a bit outside, 2-1.
It looks like if the Tigers did get into the LCS, they would probably, they being the commissioner's office, allow Freddie Lynn to play, and I think that that would be the right thing to do.
Here's the 2-1 pitch in the way, and Aldrete fouls this one away. Wasn't there something said about that the other day in the paper, that he would be eligible? I think they did make the ruling that he would be eligible for the playoffs and World Series. Right now, Humbaby with a 4-1 lead.
There's a guy next to him, Mark Laton, who has certainly had a long year. Mark, the head trainer for the San Francisco Giants.
2-2 pitch, quick snap throw down to first base by Santiago. Boy, he does that well. I don't know of anyone that can throw the ball as quickly to first base or second base while down on one knee like that.
He just pivots a little bit and kind of flips it right down to first base.
There goes the runner at first. And Moreland backhands and will go to the pitcher covering. In the inning for the Giants. No runs, no hits, a base on balls. A man is left. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Giants leading 4-1.
Hold on. So, did you check out any other 4x4s before getting another one of these? Sure. There were some a little cheaper. So how come you stuck with Toyota? Well, my old one never let me down. How many things can you say that about? Yeah, but if you could have saved a few bucks, why take chances? What chances? You got any idea how far it is back to town?
Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Leave it to the good hands, people.
Recognition. It's not something you get every day, which is what made this morning so different for the Youngs, whose car is usually parked right here. This morning, however, they're down at Allstate getting a special reward, a discount of up to 15% off their car insurance for having Allstate home insurance and excellent driving records. Find out how your home can now help you save on your car. Ask for the Allstate Auto Advantage, another reason.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
If business takes you to San Diego, take U.S. Air. We take off nonstop 11 times a day.
In the bottom of the 8th inning, the Giants are holding on to a 3-run lead as we go to the Padre half of the inning. Just a reminder to be sure to catch the Giants' last homestand when they blast the Dodgers in a 3-game weekend series starting Friday, September 23rd at 7:35, and then with Saturday and Sunday games at 1:05. Then the Reds roll into town for 3 night games, all at 7:35, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, September 26th, 27th, and 28th. Call the Teletron number now for your tickets to Giants baseball. Now pitching for the Giants, left-hander Craig Lefferts comes in. He is 3-8 on the year with 7 saves, and he takes over here in the 8th inning. He is going to be facing Alomar, Martinez, and Kruk. And for Big Daddy Rick Russell, he goes 7 innings, allows 7 hits, 1 run, does not walk anybody this evening, and he strikes out 1. Roberto Alomar to be the leadoff man. He is 1 for 2 in tonight's game. Lefferts working out of the stretch. And that is hit well into left field. Back goes Aldretti. He has room, and right in front of the 370 marker, hauls it in. That is out number 1, and that brings up the left fielder, Carmelo Martinez.
A lot of balls hit well tonight. Surprisingly, the ball seems to be carrying tonight. It usually doesn't carry that well in the evening. As you're going to see Aldretti just get on the warning track.
Here's Martinez. And there's ball 1.
I suppose, Ron, without that inner fence, that's a routine fly ball.
Yeah, it is. You know, for several years, you hadn't hit the ball up in the seats here. And they have made this into a pretty good hitter's ballpark.
Yes, they have. Especially with the infield being as hard as it is.
Martinez fouls it at home plate. 1 ball, 1 strike to him. You can see the fences and how far in they are from the concrete wall. 327 down the line, 370 in the alleys, and 405 to straightaway center. But if you have to hit one up into the seats, there's quite a bit of difference. One ball, 1 strike. And there is a strike. 1 and 2.
I made the mistake a couple of years ago by going beyond that inner fence to get some balls that were hit out during batting practice, and it was a full house here at Jack Murphy Stadium. And I got to tell you, I wore everything from hot dogs to beer.
There's one foul down the right field side.
Peanut shells.
Did they nail you?
Well, they want the baseballs, and I guess I didn't feel in the mood, or maybe someone was watching me, so I didn't throw the balls into the stands. I paid for it, believe me.
Trevor Wilson throwing in the bullpen. He may be starting in a couple of days. 1-2 pitching away. Bounce foul wide of third. Giants have some good young arms. Now, Dennis Cook pitched extremely well last night. Trevor Wilson pitched well his last outing.
I had to laugh at what Jack McKeon said about Dennis Cook in the paper this morning. He said he would rather have his team face a Dwight Gooden or an Oral Hershiser than to face a kid like Dennis Cook.
Fouled away again.
And when you look at that, kind of say, wait a minute, what is the deal with Jack McKeon? But basically what he is saying is he's saying that at least his hitters know what Gooden has, what kind of repertoire.
They know what to expect.
Off of Dennis Cook, they did not.
He has done a good job since taking over for the Padres. A bit low and inside, 2-2. McKeon took over on May 28th. Since then, San Diego has a record of 56-40. 16 games over the 500 mark. To third. Spire has it. And his throw across the diamond in time. 5-3 on a put out. Two men are retired here in the 8th inning. And here is John Kruk coming up.
See Chris Spire get that nice hop. And then, of course, that is the style of Chris Spire. If you watched him feel a ground ball 10 years ago, he feels it the same way, and he's got that same over-the-top delivery.
Kruk is 1 for 3 tonight. And there is a strike. He also does one thing very well, too, and that is it's not easy to do, and everyone takes it for granted, and that is the ability to read the ground ball and negotiate a good hop for yourself. There's a sweeping curveball swung on and missed.
Mark Belanger used to say, be aware of the third hop, and he had it down to a science. He really believed that the third hop would be the one that would eat you up.
Low and outside. And I've never heard that before. Now, that's interesting.
And he had it down pat to the point that the ball would start to pick up speed, and also the third hop would probably be the first hop that would hit the dirt. And after he had said that, that was about halfway through my career. I became a lot more aware of it, and believe it or not, it was true.
Fouled away again. Count remains at 1-2 to Kruk.
Of course, once you start counting hops, you couldn't be in trouble.
No, but it's interesting how players will analyze a play like that. Some guys refer to negotiate the good hop, you know, be able to read the ball and catch the ball at the top of the hop. Got him with a curveball, and Kruk looked bad on that swing. Strikes out to end the inning. For the Padres, 3 up, 3 down in the 8th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the 9th inning. Giants holding on to the lead. They lead it by 3.
To keep the nation's business running like clockwork, just one airline offers all-day commuter schedules to Los Angeles, Chicago, and Denver every business day. United, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
You know, when I played football, people said I was one tough player. But I not only outmuscled the other guy, I outsmarted him. I used my head. And a guy like me enjoys drinking Miller Lite, because Lite's the less filling beer that tastes great. But the best thing about Miller Lite is that it shows a tough guy like me can still use his head.
Well, how's that, Gary?
You hit it right on the head. There's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Enough. Deal.
Did somebody say deal? Your Dodge dealer has hot numbers and big rebates on almost everything in stock.
Get an imported Dodge Colt, save up to $989. Ram 50 pickup, save up to $1106. Or Dodge Vistas, save $500.
So if you want a great deal, hey!
Well, are you going to deal?
Did somebody say deal?
Well, we go to the top half of the inning with the Giants leading by a score of 4-1. Some future telecasts will be coming your way. We'll have one here tomorrow night coming your way at 7 o'clock. And then from Houston, we have 2 on the 16th and the 18th on most of these same stations. Spire pops the first pitch up into center field. Easy play for Marvell Wynn. And that is out number 1. Coming to the plate now is Kurt Manwaring, who is 1 for 3. He doubled a drive in a run in the 5th inning, and he has scored. And Wayne, you and I were talking prior to the ball game. The veteran Rick Russell on the mound. What effect would it have with Manwaring behind the plate? Obviously, very little.
And Manwaring doing a fine job, especially on blocking the plate, keeping Ed Whitson from scoring on the sacrifice fly attempt. And that was in the 5th inning.
Into right field down the line, and that is slicing foul. I thought that was a heck of a play by Manwaring. It looked like to me that Whitson slowed down to slide. And I'm still trying to figure out how Manwaring caught the ball.
Well, that's what Wayne and I were talking about. It looked like Whitson had totally blocked Manwaring's view from where the ball was going to be. And somehow that ball ended up in his glove. But he has just done an outstanding job tonight. And as you mentioned, Rick Russell is going to throw his game regardless of who's back there.
Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that is over for a strike 1-2. On the other hand, you know, I think that's great experience for Manwaring to see as many different kind of pitchers that he can see. So I think it's good that he works with Russell. And he gets him. That time Manwaring could not pull the trigger. 2 men gone here in the 9th inning.
And you take it from another angle, Ron. You know, here's a guy that is learning what it's like in the major leagues. We're going to see him learning the tough way as he takes a call third. But defensively, what a way to learn off of a guy like Rick Russell on how to call a game, how to set up hitters.
Here's Jose Uribe. And there's ball 1. And I know exactly what you're saying, because when the game is over, if Manwaring has any questions, all he has to do is to go to Rick and say, gee, why did you throw this guy this kind of a pitch? There's ball 2. Or what did you have in mind in the 5th inning when you had so-and-so at the plate? And that's where you really learn things.
Absolutely. You know, Russell, from time to time, will just put on a clinic.
Low and inside, ball 3. Jose Uribe 0 for 3. He's looking for his first hit tonight. I always thought it was interesting to try to get in the mind of the pitcher to figure out what was going through his mind when that play developed. There's ball 4. And down to first base goes Jose. Second base on balls issued by McCullers. Right now, things rather pleasant down in the Giants dugout. They lead by 3.
I don't think enough hitters take advantage of talking to the pitchers on their team, even asking them, how would you pitch to me? And pitchers aren't always ones that will offer a whole lot of advice, but if you can get a guy that can talk pitching to you, you can learn a lot hitting.
Well, yeah, that's one reason why I always like to room. You know, guys don't room together anymore, but I always like to room with a pitcher for that very simple reason. Leffert swings and misses. Count is 0-2 to him. You know, there's a room with somebody and say, gee, why would that pitcher pitch me in the game like that tonight? What would be going through his mind, and then be able to talk about that. See the lead of Jose at first base. Leffert swings and misses and strikes out the end of the inning. For the Giants in their half of the 9th inning. No runs, no hits, a base on balls, a man is left. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Giants leading 4-1.
I took my family to California on vacation. Now, I didn't need to carry a lot of cash because I taken along my Citibank Visa. Then, in the middle of the trip, I lost it. So I called the 800 number from Citibank.
I canceled his Citibank Visa and immediately issued him a new one.
She got the new card to my hotel within 24 hours. If it wasn't for Citibank, the kids would have missed Disneyland.
Not just Visa, Citibank Visa.
A year ago, this young woman became an owner of a major U.S. corporation. And she can't wait to get to work.
Okay, you're all set with the Cadillac.
Avis Incorporated is the only major rent-a-car company owned by its corporate employees.
Cadillac, 45 bucks a day? How'd you swing that?
And you're the owner?
Get fast service and a Cadillac for $45 a day. Avis, we're trying harder than ever.
For 7.5 years, I've worked with a great president. I've seen what crosses that big desk. I've seen the unexpected crisis that arrives in a cable in a young aide's hands, and so I know that what it all comes down to this election is the man at the desk. And who should sit at that desk? My friends, I am that man.
We go to the bottom of the ninth inning with the Giants leading by a score of 4-1. Craig Lefferts, for his second inning of work, has retired the first three that he's faced. And as we go here in the ninth inning, it'll be Moreland, Santiago, and then Flannery. And Kurt Manwaring with one of the best defensive plays of the ball game. It was back in the fifth inning on the play when Whitson tried to tag and score from third, and Manwaring with a great play to catch the ball and block the plate on the throw from Aldrete. A big defensive play for the Giants. So here we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. 4-1 San Francisco. And there is ball one to Keith Moreland. Moreland 0 for 3 tonight. And that's a base hit to center. Moreland leads things off with a solid single up the middle. And that brings up Benito Santiago. You recall it was in last night's game with the Giants leading 4-0, as you can see the base hit by Moreland, that the Padres put on a rally in the ninth inning. And the Giants went on to win that one 4-2. We have a pinch runner at first base running for Moreland. And that is Stan Jefferson. That is ball one.
Well, you talked about that rally in the ninth last night by the Padres. What they did is they hit a pair of home runs, Martinez and Moreland. That, of course, is what Lefferts is going to try to keep Santiago and Flannery and Templeton from doing. Keep the ball down in the strike zone and work the ball away to the hitters.
You can see Alomar with those hands saying, you got to be careful of a line drive. Got to get back at a line drive. Larry Sorensen throwing in the bullpen for San Francisco. High, ball two. You can see the veteran right-hander loosening up in the right field corner. Next pitch is high, and it's 3-1.
Well, you don't want to put this guy on, because then, of course, the Padres can move the base runners into scoring position with a bunt.
But even at that, what you don't want to do is allow the tying man to come to the plate. Right now, the tying man is to the on-deck hitter, whoever that may be. 3-1 pitch, and that's over for a strike.
Well, Flannery is on deck right now, and I doubt very much if he would hit if Santiago makes an out. If Santiago walks or gets a base hit, that might be another story.
Popped him up behind second base. Thompson calling for it, and he makes the catch. That is out number one. And it will be Randy Reddy, I believe, will be batting for Flannery.
For the Padres, batting for the third baseman Flannery. Number 5, Randy Reddy.
So Randy Reddy will be facing Lefferts. And keep in mind, Lefferts want to make sure that he keeps that tying run on the on-deck circle. Last night, Randy Reddy went 0 for 4 in the game. He's hit well against the Giants this year. He's hit a couple of home runs and driven in 5 against them. 4-1 Giants. down the right field line, but foul.
I'm really surprised that Jack McKeon has not used Chris Brown in this situation. Brown probably with more power than Randy Reddy. As you see Chris Brown walking in the dugout.
Well, he may be in there just yet. Who knows? Of course, you still have, if they get down to it, the pitcher spot.
That's true.
But you're right. He does have more power than Reddy. Although Brown has not demonstrated that this year. He's had only a couple of home runs. But you're right. He does have more power. To center field. In shallow right. And Maldonado will take care of that one. 2 men are gone here in the inning. And the Giants just 1 out away from picking up their 74th victory of the year.
Will Clark, Ron, will play very deep at first base, not even worry about Jefferson.
Fouled away as Templeton is now behind on the count 0-1. Play way back there. Forget about the runner. You don't care what he does because his run doesn't mean anything. It's a three-run game right now, 4-1. Concentrate on getting that guy at the plate. There goes the runner, and it's fouled away.
And that's something that we see most teams doing. If the opposition is going to give you second base, they will take it. Although that has changed throughout the course of the years. There is no guarantee that you're going to get to second base, although you got a pretty good shot at it.
Yeah, you do. There he goes again. And then is swung on and missed, strike 3, and the game is over. So Lefferts comes in and pitches 2. Very good inning, and he nails down the 18th victory of the year for Rick Russell. And the Giants go on to win it by a score of 4-1. Wayne Kuiper will have the totals for you when we come back in just a moment.
One step ahead in the best position.
It's year-end clearance time at your Toyota dealers, and we've got to sell thousands of 88 models to make room for the new 89. This is your last chance to get the 4Runner, pickup, or van of your choice at 88 prices. So don't wait. See your Northern California Toyota dealer today.
Toyota's got to jump in, we're jumping We're in the best position.
Tires. We know you don't think about them much, but man, what the right set can do for your car. For when baby needs a new set of shoes, BF Goodrich TAs. We make your car perform.
Pity! Once again, the magnificent sport of shuffleboard has been excluded from the Olympic Games. What rubbish! Oh, well, nothing like a great-tasting Miller Lite while I wait till 92. Shuffleboard? Hey, would you mind? Thank you so much. I say, good shuffle.
To everyone with an Olympic dream, cheers.
There are more small businesses in California than anywhere else, and more competition.
So what's wrong? This new guy opened up down the block.
Is your business on?
To say I didn't need the competition.
Make things easy for your customers. Get an 800 number.
Just call Pacific Bell. They'll help you figure out what you need. Would an 800 number help that much?
Hey, it worked for me.
For an 800 number, your best call is to call on us, Pacific Bell.
Back at Jack Murphy Stadium, and those are the totals in tonight's game. The Giants, 4 runs on 7 hits, a couple of errors. The Padres, 1 run on 8 hits, and they did not commit an error. The winner, Rick Russell, Big Daddy, picks up number 18.
The loser, Ed Whitson, he is now 12-10. Greg Lefferts gets his ace save, and the game-winning RBI goes to the youngster, Kurt Manwaring. Robbie Thompson and Candy Maldonado, they both hit home runs. Kurt Manwaring with a fine play in the 5th inning. It was Carmelo Martinez with a fly ball to Mike Aldretti. Ed Whitson, he is charging in from third base, and Manwaring blocks off Whitson, and that ended the inning for the Padres in the 5th. And that right there, folks, helped Rick Rushell pick up his 18th victory of the season. So the Giants have won the first 2 games of this series against the San Diego Padres. Tomorrow night, it'll be done.